the early 18th century, the Germans and the French started making chocolate Easter eggs. And the first one in the UK, 1875.
Yeah, but why? The consumerism that is pushed doesn't push home the message of Easter.
There's nothing about Easter in an Easter egg, dude. Except the word Easter. You will.
You keep me accountable.
That's not on me, homie. I'll be eating 3 other things.
Somebody keep me accountable. I don't want to take part no more. I don't want to be part of the problem. What's going on, beautiful people? This is the Perspective Chasers podcast. I'm your host, John.
And I'm Gluteus Maximus the First.
Glutes indeed. And today we are talking about all things Easter. There's something that's just bugging me about it, and Easter seems to be so contaminated by so much.
Oh, you see, we're going to get onto this. But Mike, did you know it's going to lead us into that so nicely, right? Hey man, I'm self-righteous, man.
Hey, we all.
Right. Did you know that Easter eggs were actually a thing before the chocolate Easter egg?
Why? How?
So, it all started way back in ye olden times, mate, right? Ye olden times, man. But the actual egg itself was a symbol of the resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
Before chocolate was even a thing. Right? Before Mr. Cadbury come along and started doing this thing, was a thing before then, right? So, eggs were used as a symbol of new life and rebirth in many cultures, like Persian culture, Egyptian culture, and Greek culture.
Mm-hmm.
Before we got to where we are now. And the Christians adopted it around the 4th century. So after Jesus himself came along and said, hello. How we doing, guys? All right. Never going to guess where this is going to go. Chocolate eggs. But yeah. So then they adopted it. And basically during Lent, eggs were forbidden. So then they started to freeze them or like ferment them to like preserve them. Mm. So whilst they were waiting the 40 days, decoration of the eggs became a thing. So they would paint the eggs and stuff like that, basically whilst they were waiting. And there's also cultures where they used to paint them and dye them red for like the blood of Christ. So they were already a thing before the chocolate egg came along.
Okay.
It got adapted. So basically there's a thing where like the sealed egg resembles like the tomb, and the cracking of the egg represents the resurrection.
Okay.
Then, it's where it gets good, right? Where it gets good. But then, 2 inventions happened. The old Russians made Fabergé eggs. You ever seen those things? The really pretty jewelry things?
I was wondering where they come into this, and like if they actually played a role in.
Yeah, so they're late 18th century.
Okay.
I got one of those at home. They bang.
You have a Fabergé egg?
Yeah, I've been to St. Petersburg. Imported that bad boy.
Something
pops open and everything. It's great.
Something about those told me they would all just be expensive, but I'm guessing
it's like that small, mate. Let's not get it twisted, right? It's not 30 feet tall.
Fair enough. But again, it does have a relevance to Easter, which is interesting that they're not, or that they do genuinely hold historical relevance in that sense. When I just thought they was a piece of art.
They are. I guess they are more now. But again, think when they're closed, that's the tomb, right?
Mm.
The Fabergé eggs are normally designed to open and flourish.
Mm.
That would be, metaphorically speaking, the resurrection.
Mm.
But then in the early, you see this is where it gets interesting. The early 18th century, the Germans and the French started making chocolate Easter eggs. And the first one in the UK, 1875.
Yeah, but why?
Cadbury's, baby. Because I'm guessing they must have just decided that they can sculpt it into an egg and kind of cash into it. Because Easter greeting cards started being invented around a similar time. So that was like your earliest sign of the corporate or the consumerism of it coming into gear. Mm. But what really kicked it off was after World War II, when people started getting their income back and started being a bit more disposable of their income. That's when the corporate machine took it over and then made it big time and started making it a big event. So then things like the Easter Bunny started becoming a trend in the US. When obviously you're post-World War, you'd have had a lot of people that you would have been looking to for like sources of like happiness again. Mm. But the Easter Bunny was introduced to the US in the 1700s by the Germans.
But why the bunny? It doesn't lay
God
eggs.
knows, mate, okay? I didn't go that deep into it, right? I went deep enough that it was deep enough, all right?
Do you see why I have this kind of core problem with Easter? And a lot of kind of holidays that we just kind of take part in a sense, that there are so many parts of it that we don't know, but we kind of blindly follow. Like, if I didn't take part in Easter, I'd feel that I was doing my daughter a disservice because she's going to go to school.
100%.
And if she didn't have Easter eggs and every other kid has, she's then left out. So then you've got that kind of societal stigma.
Yeah.
There's like, hey, did your family take part in this tradition or that part of the tradition?
But it's just true though. Like, it's the biggest thing. Like that I think I've noticed, especially in like our generation, our lifetime, is so consumer heavy now. Like $2 billion in the US alone on Easter is mental.
But
That's on candy, bro. That's mad.
And really and truly, the consumerism that is pushed doesn't push home the message of Easter.
There's nothing about Easter in an Easter egg, dude, except the word Easter. There is no symbolism. There's no message. There's no...
See, what you kind of lay out there does kind of shed some light on different aspects of Easter in terms of the decorating of the egg as to why we do it. But then you instantly see the massive consumerist tone that kind of takes over it as soon as you kind of implement the kind of chocolate. And even when you mention there, like the kind of Lent and that normally involves giving something up, fasting, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, I'm not too well versed on that.
So I think with like certain parts of Christianity, like I think like Orthodox Christians, it is a bit stricter, and then becomes like a full on fast. Because I know someone who has, I think like in like Greece, Cyprus, that area, they do it slightly differently, where they give up certain aspects at certain times. Because he was telling me that there was a couple of days where there was no meat. There was like a couple of days where it's like no animal products at all. And there's parts where there's like no oils and certain things like that all resemble certain things. But I think general Lent is where you give up like a thing for the 40 days. It's like where a lot of people like stop smoking.
Yeah.
Or they give up sugars or whatever, things like that. Or they give up chocolate, that kind of thing.
Yeah, if I'm not kind of misunderstanding it too much, it's normally something that is a kind of indulgence, a luxury item to kind of give yourself some perspective on life.
It's basically it's like not a mandatory, if that makes sense. It's something for the greater good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas like Eid with Muslim faith is everything. In daylight hours is not happening, you know what I mean? Which is a lot stricter, a lot
that's
harsher.
Directly in contradiction to the idea of consumerism or the goal of consumerism, which is like, if you've got the religious concept of Easter being the reincarnation and the resurrection and kind of giving something up, Jesus paying for our sins and everything else, and they're saying, no, here, take this, here, celebrate you, indulge. To me, there's a massive contradiction. And then that poses the question, why are you taking part?
100%. I mean, you could, like, the thing is, like, on that base research, again, I didn't go super deep. I go enough that I can get some good facts out of it and piece it together, right? But you can see the lineage of this was a thing, like a pagan thing originally, like a rebirth thing. It's a sign of fertility. It's a sign of spring. They then got adapted into Christianity because they then put their own spin on that of this resembles the tomb and the rebirth, right? The opening of the egg is the rebirth. Think of how a chick would come out of an egg, right? They're being birthed by cracking open. So the rebirth is literally symbolized, right? Then you escalate that and evolve it into, okay, this is forbidden for 40 days, but we can't let them go to waste. So how do we preserve these? They preserve them, or what do we do while we preserve them? Well, I guess we could decorate them. And then that starts basic with things like red for blood of Christ, so it's all connected. But then that gets fancier, and then people start doing little lines and stuff and going, oh, isn't that pretty? And then all of a sudden, Mr. Cadbury comes along and goes, you've seen what the French are doing, mate. See, they're making that egg thing chocolate. And he's obviously gone, make money off that, couldn't they? And then it kind of, the war happened where nothing happened. Obviously, everything was a mess, right? And then as you come out of that, everyone's looking for a way of doing things again, and then... Because that's when a lot of the consumerism exploded anyways. Because people had more disposable income back, right? Because they obviously were living with rations and God knows what else going on in the war.
It's not just that. It's when everything basically become industrialized. All of the machines that we used for the wars were now used for the people. So
then it would make sense to upscale it in a more consumer way, wouldn't it? If you've got something that's really niche and you think people will like, and it's seasonal sells, right? We spoke about this at Christmas time, didn't we?
Yeah.
Seasonal sells, man. Valentine's Day, seasonal sells. So Easter is another link in that consumer chain that keeps you moving between periods, right?
So every season, and it's designed this way, that every one of the 12 seasons has something to encourage you to sell, you to do this, you to do that. But that's why I just keep coming back to this thing of, why are we taking part of it?
True.
Like, for most part, there are going to be so many people that are very much like myself that really don't understand why they're taking part in Easter, but also don't want to be left out of the kind of traditions. They want the good parts of it. They want the eggs. They want the chocolate. They want the presents. But they don't understand why they're taking part of it. But then it's still perpetuated through cycles. And that's where the consumerists or the capitalists benefit.
True.
Because that's where people are just blindly consuming simply because.
Like, but we do. I mean, what's the two things you're guaranteed to see in the UK on Boxing Day?
I mean, that question is completely lost to me because I'm probably going to be staying indoors. But
think from a consumer point of view, what are two things you're likely to see?
Rubbish piled outside people's houses.
An advert on TV for holidays.
Oh, I don't watch TV. That's why that's what lost me.
But you'll see an advert somewhere for holidays.
Yeah.
And an Easter egg in a shop. That's how quickly they move in. Like, it's done. Like, we're literally less than 24 hours removed from Christmas Day. Take the trees down. Get the mini eggs in there, mate. When I say mini eggs, I mean by size, not brand. Don't come after me. But it's a genuinely curious thing, right? Because I'm not religious. I know you're not very religious yourself, right? We're more, I think you lean more spiritual than anything, if that's the right way of saying it. I'd probably lean more that way myself. Nearly not as much as you, but I'm curious, but I don't follow a faith. So there's no resonance of Easter to me whatsoever. I understand the story of it from the Christian faith, of Jesus dying, coming back, that kind of stuff. But I see no relevance to that in daily life around Easter anymore. Like zero. Unless you like literally look at a church where it's got the advertising on it. Where else do you see the actual message of the faith? You don't.
But then where do you see, like, even, not to throw shade at them, but even Cadbury's thing at the minute of hide an egg around the planet or whatever, like hide an egg anywhere for somebody or whatever else, is an advert that they're literally perpetuating at the minute. But no core ideas around the faith, all of the positive side of things,
it's
all
a selling
the things
point.
exactly.
They can just literally sell an egg-shaped chocolate object.
And this is the thing, how much do you change out of the original before it's no longer it? So it's like the old Only Fools and Horses thing of, like, I've had this broom for 50 years. It's had 5 handles and 10 broom ends. Like, well, it's not the same one then, is it? So now, if we've changed out all of the parts that we prioritize and focus on for Easter for new consumerist ideas, is it still Easter? Is it still the tradition that... And okay, cool, some people still do go to church and this, that, and everything else.
Oh, absolutely. Some people still go to like midnight mass as well. Not just church, but they go to church until midnight. Like,
but that seems to be, at least to me anyway, it seems to be an afterthought of Easter, opposed to first, like you said, you see the eggs, you see the bunny ears, you see this, you see all of the consumerist stuff that they want you to draw attention to first, opposed to, hey, what are you giving up? What are you denying yourself so you can understand suffering a little bit better, how you can understand yourself a little bit better, or the deeper sides of life?
Because I find it interesting, because when you look at the stats and stuff, I'm pretty sure that religion still very much dominates the populace, in the sense that people have a religion. Yet, you wouldn't think so. With the way that consumerism is, you would be forgiven for thinking that this isn't a religious country at all, and that people just don't have a faith. Or certainly not a Christian or Catholic one. Because I see that little Easter messaging. And again, I'm not a religious person, so this isn't me getting at people for it. But considering it's tied into a very religious time and festival, you would think you would see more of it.
Yeah.
Especially in a big city like we live in. But you don't.
And as well...
And I know that like neither of us get out and about all the time. We're very like cyclical in what we do in terms of where we go and how we go. But I don't remember any part of my journeys recently over the last 2 weeks where I have seen direct relations tying this to Easter and the religious sense.
This is the thing, to even sit here and kind of struggle to think about why we're even taking part of it, opposed to the fact of not wanting to miss out and that kind of fear of FOMO and all of that. Like, it really is just a case of how much of it is missed for, like, when you look at how much of the consumerist side of things, they go out of their way to put their product inside your face. So even though, like you say, we have cyclical living, we still see those annoying adverts and those annoying things to say, consume, consume, consume.
Oh, you could probably list off 5 companies that you recognize
Exactly.
with ease.
But then how much of that, considering what you're actually celebrating, is the traditions, all of the ideas behind it, the realizations that were found through the teachings and the readings and the experience and all of that stuff that I'm missing. And you just go, no, have a chocolate egg. That's what it's about. The day's about a chocolate egg. You don't have a chocolate egg? Oh, the day's ruined.
But isn't there a bit of irony in it, in a sense that, like Christmas has pagan origins, right? So the actual egg concept of Easter has pagan origins.
A lot of religious and kind of just traditional beliefs and just traditions are kind of regurgitated or adapted. Like, bro, a lot of Christianity can be dialed all the way back to ancient Egypt. You can look at Tot and Thot, and I'm butchering names and the pronunciations, but you can see how things have kind of been regurgitated and reincarnated in various forms throughout history.
So is it just me, or am I the only one that finds it ironic that you don't see any religious messaging about it anymore, considering it was a pagan thing in the first place? In a weird way, things have gone full circle. Because the actual symbol, the symbol of Easter, which is the egg, didn't start as a religious thing. It got kind of moved into the religion. As I said to you, right? It was more of a pagan thing about, fertility and refreshing and spring, which then moved into the Easter side of things for religious things. And it's now kind of gone full circle in a sense that it doesn't really feel like it's tied to that religious event anymore. It just feels like it's a time of year now. Like, it's that time of year when you start seeing them everywhere when you go into a shop. Like, when you walk into a shop, the first thing you see is, boom, Easter eggs. There's some of them that don't even call it Easter eggs. Most of them call it chocolate eggs.
Oh, really? Is that like the whole Christmas thing of, no, you've got to say happy holidays?
I guess so. But that reaffirms the point even more.
And
that it's weirdly gone full circle in a weird way. It may not be a perfect circle, but it's kind of U-turned on itself. Which in itself is a strange thing, right? But I guess that's how society is less religiously focused these days. I mean, people have their faiths and people have very deep faiths. But the general kind of messaging through the world, or through the country anyways, isn't that religious faith anymore.
So, does Easter have any meaning to you?
No.
Because
I wasn't raised religious. Because it was a thing I was just thinking, actually, right? How has Easter changed in our lifetime? Because I remember when we were in school, especially for me, being taught the meaning of Easter from the Christian sense. Especially in primary school. And then I remember learning about it more in secondary school when you started doing religious studies. But then nothing. Then it was just, you start moving into adult life. And I still get an Easter egg from my mum because she's just a sweetheart, you know what I mean? She's OG. But that's it. You know what I mean? Like, there's not much else to it. Like, with little one, I'll give her something because that's just the tradition that we do. It's the time of year to go, let's get him a little something, you know what I mean? But I don't do that from a religious point. I'm just like, it's a chance to get my goddaughter some chocolate. Gives me a good question, actually. Did you get Easter eggs when you were younger?
Yeah.
When did you stop getting them?
When did I stop getting them?
When did mum go, do you know what, mate? You're old enough, go get your own.
See, my mum was very sappy, so she kept things going on for a lot longer than...
That's what I mean by OG, man. I'm 31. Mum still does that for me, man. She bought one for me and my missus this year, man. I'm just like, what we doing? Like, I appreciate it, don't get me wrong, but like, that sentiment is still so touching to me.
Yeah, I don't think she ever did really stop, or maybe she did just because life got on or whatever else. But I don't think that there wasn't a point of like, oh, you're 15, 16, 17 now, you're too big for an egg or whatever else. It's... Yeah, actually, maybe there was a point of that when I was like getting towards my early 20s or whatever else, and she was like, no, you're big enough, shut up. But then, like, she would still do it. Yeah, it was kind of like a nudge, like, I don't have to do this.
But I do it because I love you, you know what I mean? Like, there's 2 reasons I asked. One, I just wanted to see if I unlock core memories, but the second one is, have you noticed how much Easter eggs have changed from when we were young enough to actually be like, I'm excited by these, to now?
And this is...
But remember this, like, from sizes, shape, look, to what the hell they are.
So
is mad.
I'm gonna do like a little Easter egg hunt with little one, but I'm trying to be overly cautious with how much chocolate she has just overall, because it's too much. Like seriously, a couple of Easter eggs. Like, don't get me wrong, majority of what you're buying is the box and empty air, but what is left is still too much in terms of children. Like, bro, how many kids are gonna get 4 or 5 Easter eggs, which ain't even gonna seem like a lot to a lot of people, but in terms of calories, that's like 4,000 or 5,000 calories.
Empty calories as
of
well.
just chocolate.
Empty calories, because they ain't running that off.
Like, seriously, when you're buying eggs for your kids, look how many calories are in those things. Genuinely ask yourself, what are you giving your child? Because it ain't something good.
But bro, like, I mean, you got a point. But like, bro, I'm just blown away by how fancy and also how weird eggs are getting.
Bro,
Like, bro, when we were younger, it was simple. You got a whatever brand it was, kind of Easter egg. You shut your mouth and you be grateful for whatever brand I have got you, and you enjoy that damn thing. Done, right? And it was always the same. An egg about that much, hollow on the inside. The chocolate of the egg wasn't always great, but it was all right. And you normally got a few little things with it, right? Normally from the same brand, right? They're bars or whatever, right? And that's the bit that you were like, gang, that's the nice stuff in it. Some of the monstrosities I'm seeing now, bro. I mean, bro, there's eggs that are completely filled now. Yeah, completely filled. We referenced the company already, but Mr. Cadbury, they do eggs with whatever themed chocolate bar it is, like fruit and nut, whatever, in the actual egg, even though it's hollowed out, but it's actually all the way through the egg.
Oh, that actually kind of bangs.
Yeah, I got one for the missus, fruit and nut. She was all over that, man. She was gassed. Expensive, but gassed. But
Yeah,
bang,
that's the part I
absolutely,
don't like.
absolutely bangs now. But the stuff you get with it, you don't get much anymore. But you still get all the calories, which baffles me. But there's weird ones now, bro. You got certain fancy, very British chains doing like 2-in-1 eggs where like the outside's chocolate and then it's like a solid hunk of like pistachio on the inside. Again, sounds banging, don't get me wrong. But did you know a certain pizza chain has made an Easter egg this year?
Hey?
Said pizza chain is quite well known for their garlic and herb sauce and has made a garlic and herb Easter egg. It's white chocolate infused with their garlic and herb sauce. And you know how most chocolate Easter eggs come with like a little chocolate bar in it, whatever? Do you know what theirs comes with?
Salsa pizza?
No. A garlic and herb dipping pot so you can dip the Easter egg in the garlic and herb sauce.
This sounds so awful.
You quick Google, you'll find out the pizza chain very quickly, but I'm not giving them free advertising. I have beef with them. But this is my point. What are we doing, bro?
Bro,
like, not only have we decimated any religious meaning to this, which, again, that don't offend me because I'm not religious, right? But I get how I might upset others. But we've decimated all the culture attached to it. And now we're just decimating the one thing that was actually alright about it, which was the chocolate egg. Why are we getting so wacky and weird about it? Why do you need to infuse white chocolate, which is already nice anyways, and it's not actually really chocolate, but that's a rabbit hole. I'm not going to go down to that.
80% chocolate, sugar.
Why are you going to infuse that with garlic and herb, man? Their garlic and herb sauce is nice. It's one of the best things about that pizza chain. Ain't much else after that, but that's one of the best things. What are we doing?
Yeah, bro, and this is the other thing of just like jumping on the bandwagon. Bro, everybody wants a slice of that pie.
Yeah. Nice.
So now, like, when is it just like, leave it alone?
Do you know what we do next year? Right, we think of a biodiverse way of making just an empty shell and selling pockets of air, bro.
Do you know what? I reckon one year everybody should just boycott the consumerism of Easter.
And let's just sell hemp sacks that are egg-shaped with air, bro. Let's see how much money we make.
But bro, genuinely, right? These companies push these things in order for you to buy them. So now, if people just stop buying them, they're going to stop making them. So now, if we're complaining about the ideas of consumerism around these holidays and everything else, well, stop perpetuating the cycle. Stop taking part of it. So like, now I avidly make sure that, like I say, I don't buy too much chocolate for little one. If I'm buying her presents for any given like birthdays or holidays, I'm matching that in savings. I'm not putting everything into products. There is mediation amongst this. You're not having all of my money. I'm not putting all of my eggs in one basket. I'm going to vary that stuff. And there's so much more value to that. Because what's going to happen, Not being funny, you've gone out, you've spent 30, 40 quid to get your kid 5 or 6 Easter eggs. And if you've got multiple kids, you're now up in the hundreds of pounds to get a couple of eggs for each of them.
Literally.
That's a couple of thousand calories that ain't going to serve them well and ain't going to be around a few days later. How good are you going to feel about yourself?
No, it's true, mate.
Really?
No, it's properly true, man. Like, it's crazy. The other thing as well, man, is like, the thing that's always like really prevalent at the moment is we're mashing the planet up. How much damage is that doing? Don't get me wrong. I know that like most Easter eggs come in like tinfoil and recycled, like in cardboard packaging, right? So you can recycle those, you can repurpose, whatever. But that don't mean that it's good.
But not just that, you've got all of the fallout of like the arts and crafts around Easter. You've got the plastic Easter eggs now, and yeah, I get that they're reusable.
Plastic
but
Easter
how
eggs
long
will be a
before
thing.
they're cracked?
Yeah.
How long before they're thrown in the bin anyway?
They may not be a thing in the UK, but there'll be a thing in other places in the world where like that's a more cultural thing and stuff like that, right?
But at the same time, cool, you've given your kid a plastic Easter egg. They found it. Now the reward system kicks in. They open it. They want something inside. So you've still got to put a toy, money, chocolate, something inside. So it's not less consumerist. Okay, it might be a little bit better on the environment if you keep hold of it. But then it's the same question as like the reusable water balloons that you get. Great concept. But how long do they work for? And like there's always more steps to it.
But it's also the production though. That's the thing that I don't think people realize enough of, man. And that goes wider than just this. But like, if you buy something that's mainly cardboard packaging and foil wrapping and stuff, you might sleep peacefully thinking, I can recycle all this. Yeah, but you can't recycle the process that got it to the shelf. All the stuff that happened that mash up the place to get that to where it went to. Because we don't see a production. But a lot of production takes place in places where they don't care. And they'll smash up their environments. So how much of that stuff that we're actually throwing around and doing has mashed up somewhere?
And the thing is, bro, how much
for lack of a better word,
could life just be perfectly fine without all of this? Like, if you didn't have a chocolate Easter egg, is life really that bad? If you all of these things we could strip away and be just fine.
Yeah.
But with these things, we're doing a disservice to the planet. We're doing a disservice to ourselves. We're doing a disservice to our children. But yet we still take part in it. Like, why? It's stupid.
The only real reason I can think of is it's just passed down.
It's just indoctrination. We're doing it because that's how it was when we got here.
We are literally two lads who are not religious. We're not raised in a religious household. We're not told to follow religion. It wasn't forced on us or anything like that. Yeah, we still buy Easter eggs.
Do you want to do a mad little experiment? Ask me if I'm going to take part next year.
You going to take part next year?
Yeah.
You're damn right, because I know I'm going to buy my little goddaughter an Easter egg, because I'm not going to be able to say
Which
no.
is so stupid.
I know I'm going to do it. Of course I'm going to do it. I'm going to buy my missus one as well, like I did this year. I know I will, and we're fully grown adults.
I know I shouldn't. I know it's perpetuating the cycle. But again, that fear of missing out. Like, I don't want to go without... I'm not... Small little caveat. Easter egg chocolate does weirdly taste different. I don't know why.
Some brands are getting better.
Something they do...
As someone who's sampled a few Easter eggs this year. They're starting to infuse the little ones now, man.
For better or worse,
Bro, it's good stuff,
like, bro, when you get that good Easter egg chocolate, no other chocolate compares to it. For some reason, when you pull it out the freezer, you crack it, and
even though they're doing weird things with Easter eggs, they have made positive strides with how Easter egg chocolate tastes. I had one from a certain chocolate orange maker recently. You know the small ones you get for that actually aim for kids. So we all got one at work. I chose said chocolate orange one. But I just thought it was a generic egg with some chocolate orange. Oh, I was wrong. And I knew it the minute I picked it up and heard the rattle. I knew I was wrong. Because that chocolate egg was infused with the goodness of the chocolate orange, and it just tasted like one big, gigantic chocolate orange egg. And then I got sad because there wasn't enough of it.
I'm not going to lie again.
And the little segments that were hidden on the inside, which forced me to eat it like an absolute caveman. I didn't like that. You know, you normally do the little doot, or what I would do is but I just started chomping on the thing without even breaking it like a savage.
Are we still talking about eggs?
Yeah, man. But they had little wedges of a certain chocolate orange in there. And they were infused with popping candy.
Oh, damn.
And if I had read the box, I would have known this was coming, but I don't care. I'm a 31-year-old man that will treat a chocolate egg like your 4-year-old daughter will. I'll rip that thing apart. I don't care about the box. So I was just there like, whoop, I'll take it. So I've sampled a few eggs this year, my friend. I can't tell you. The white chocolate ones are not doing so great.
Yeah, white chocolate is just majority sugar anyway. It literally is like 80-90% just pure sugar.
Too sickly, mate. Too sickly.
But again, it baffles me why we take part in it. And genuinely, I'm really going to try and not take part next year. And it's going to be bad.
You will.
Okay, small caveat. Even if I take part, I'm only going to take part for my daughter. I refuse to get an Easter egg for myself next year.
You will.
No,
You will.
This is going to keep me accountable.
You will.
This is going to...
You will.
You keep me accountable.
That's not on me, homie. I'll be eating 3 other things.
Somebody keep me accountable. I don't want to take part no more. I don't want to be part of the problem. Oh, sweet Jesus.
So there is something else I want to talk about Easter, right? So obviously Easter is more of a Christian Catholic faith thing. And we've just obviously had a whole conversation about how we should remove ourselves from the corporate side of it. So what about the question that is Easter for everyone?
Of course it is. Again, it's just, bro, there's always going to be these people that think A, B, or C is exclusive. But hell no. Like, anybody can choose to kind of take on anything, really and truly. Like, yeah, there's going to be areas of cultural appropriation or this, that, or whatever else. But I think, if anything, it's going to be down to the execution. So if you started to come up with your own version of the resurrection story, your own version of Jesus, and you tried to basically rebrand it yourself, maybe not so much. But now if you just take inspiration from the ideas of Lent, the ideas of giving, being a bit more selfless, maybe going without stuff, that kind of proverbial spring cleaning of life. Like, we've all got some bad habits that we could do with kicking for 40 days.
I could do a kicking up for 40 years, mate, let alone 40 days.
Exactly. So, again, even if you're not somebody of the Christian faith, look, how many non-Christians or non-Catholics still buy Easter eggs? So if you're going to take part in that part of it, why is it unacceptable to take part in the actual beneficial parts of it? Like, declutter your life in that sense.
I suppose it's like people who fast during Ramadan, right, and try it out and see how well they do.
So, I mean, it may send me on a bit of a tangent here, but it kind of reminds me of the idea of the actual start of the year isn't January 1st like we think it is. It's actually the beginning of spring. That's because that's when the whole nature cycle starts anew. Basically, everything rejuvenates, much like the story of Jesus and reincarnation. Everything, even the winter solstice. So the sun dips below the horizon and isn't seen for extended periods of time, and there's a version of the Easter story that is actually applied to the sun, as in the literal sun in the sky, opposed to the Son of God. And it's meant to be the story of the sun's journey through the earth and how it disappears for a couple of days over the winter solstice and then reappears. And again, it's people pick and choose what they take. So then there's going to be an argument for the atheists out there that say, well, the Christians or the Catholics took the ideas for religion from that idea, and it again, there's ideas of the pagan ritual in it. So you can see even the faiths that are kind of coated in respect have areas of borrowing things from other people. They have, even if it's not borrowing, it might be just commonalities. Like, I have this core belief that even if you put somebody on an island with no outside influence, with no preconceived knowledge, they would still work out fundamental laws like mathematics. Like the idea of a level surface, the ideas and properties of water. No matter where you put water, it's going to level out. No matter what you do in terms of like simple addition, you put two things next to each other, you might not think of the word two, but you think of something. So always making sure that you are... Damn it, I've lost it. I guess having relevance to the actual point itself where... Oh, I've completely lost that tangent. Sorry, bro.
It's alright. I think that the thing I like about it, the fact that I think Easter can be for everyone, is not the actual religious side, but the time frame can be for everyone. As you said, actually, giving something up for 40 days will actually probably benefit you. And it's probably worth learning that you can sacrifice something that isn't actually necessary.
That's where I was going with it. And that is the thing, where it's like, you can borrow without it being a negative. Like, there are inspirations taken from other religions that are perpetuated, and they're good practices. So it's just about kind of being wise enough to know what to use and what to take on.
Definitely.
And if you do it in that shallow fashion or whatever else, you may take on the things that get you the bad light or whatever else. But if you're genuinely there trying to understand, and like you said about the people that experience Ramadan and everything else, although they're not maybe that religion, they still try to understand it through that lens. That is the value. And having that kind of experience in yourself, I think, is more of a compliment to the people that you're trying to understand.
Definitely.
At least I would feel that way. Like, so I kind of, to start to wrap this up a bit, the kind of insight that I always got from my mum with her disability is she would always rather somebody come up to her and ask her, what's wrong? Are you okay? And actually ask those questions instead of judgmentally stare and kind of whisper in the background or whatever.
Yeah.
So in terms of religion and everything else, no matter what religion you're going up to, no matter what faith it may be, as long as your question is honest and from a genuine place, I think the person is always going to receive it well. So even if you are an atheist or somebody of an opposing religion and you go up to somebody that is more well versed in Easter and ask them to explain it to you from their lens and kind of show you their side of things, I think that kind of honest willingness is going to be far more powerful than anything else you can kind of offer. At least that's what my mum taught me in her experience. Just be genuine and be honest in what you want. Like, you can all kind of bicker and whisper in the background, but it takes a true person to say, no, I'm genuinely curious as to what's going on here. Look, even with this episode in itself, we're both like, look, we want to talk about Easter. We don't quite understand why we're taking part in it, but we're taking part in it. Why are we doing that? Like, there's so many instances to it, and it does bring a bit of kind of that idea where you get a bit self-critical and you're like, well, again, why don't I understand these things? Does everybody understand this? But I think there is going to be a lot of people that, just like this episode, they don't quite understand why they're taking part in Easter. They just know Easter's always been a thing.
True.
So borrowing things from other religions and taking inspiration, I don't think it's a detriment. I think it's a compliment more than anything.
No, I'm inclined to agree with that, man. I think that's well said and well thought out. I think the other thing that I like about it as well is when you think about the pagan parallel to it, it was a time for refresh. It's a time for reset. And like you said about people, if they were like on an island, they would naturally learn things, right? I feel like my body naturally cycles itself up for when the mornings are lighter. I naturally feel like I want to be more energetic. I feel like I want to get more done. I feel like I want to kind of take stock of what's going on. Do I need to declutter myself a bit, whether that's my room or actually me? Is there some stuff that I just need to get rid of? You know what I mean? Like silly things, like going to get my hair cut. Like, it's like the old lamb getting sheared, right? Like, it's a literal reset, isn't it? Everyone can take stock from that. But it just happens to be the time. Easter time is normally where I start to think, we're moving into summer soon. How are we doing? First quarter of the year's out the way. How are we doing? What's next? What are we doing? Like, where are we going? And it's that kind of restock moment to kind of give yourself like a little bit of a reset. And that's where that cleanse comes from the kind of pagan time. And I find that parallel really, really interesting, that I still feel that, even though I have no physical connection to that.
See, so that paints a really interesting thought of, damn it, it's trying to slip away from me. So you've had too much today.
You've been too intellectual.
But there is this kind of, damn it, I've lost it, sorry.
The plot, the seed, the thought.
I never had the plot. But what was the point that you made? Sorry, just try and make that again.
Like about resetting, cleansing.
Yeah, so there is that point in, like you said, you naturally feel better throughout the week now.
We feel way better when it's lighter, when it's warmer, when the air is fresher,
right?
Flowers are blooming.
Thank you. And the trains, I think, back on the tracks now. We got there, folks. Don't distract me. So you feel that the year has its natural ebb and flow. If you could see the year throughout its thing, it would literally kind of peak and trough throughout the kind of daylight savings time. But all of our weeks don't do that. No. Everybody works not everybody works a 9 to 5, but most of us work a 9 to 5. We have fixed hours. They don't change throughout the year. No matter how much daylight there is outside, you've still got to get up for work and everything else. So now, when you start in work and it's dark outside and you're going home and it's dark outside, how do you feel? Opposed to as when it's springtime's coming around, the days are getting longer. You wake up, the sun's already up a little bit. It's been up long enough so there's no coldness in the air. So you're not coming out and you're like, oh, it's freezing out here. The nights are that nice springy smell in the air where it's just like, I could actually sit out here and just chill for the evening. You don't want to rush indoors. And so all of that kind of hustle and bustle goes away a little bit. But again, how much of that is just kind of distraction? And we our perceptions just kind of shifted away from that. And then correlate that to the idea of, well, the beginning of the year should actually be around springtime because that's when everything in the actual world renews. But yet it shifted to January when everything's still cold and bleak.
Yeah.
That's like waking up at 3 a.m. where it's just like, I really don't want to move. And now you're trying to gear yourself up for the beginning of the year when it's cold. Man, imagine gearing up like, yes, now's the first of the year. Let's absolutely go. The sun is shining. The weather's getting up. The animals are coming out. I can hear birds singing. Da-da-da-da-da. Let's go get some crops planted. Let's get the harvest going. Da-da-da-da-da. Straight away, the vigor for life would be far more instead of going, it's cold.
Maybe they got it right because I get to hit my third, did you know? But that's the Iranian New Year was literally like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, see?
They got it bang on the money.
Boom.
I think we've done all right today.
I think we actually have.
My guy, you got a seat to take this home?
I do. But before I do, I don't have his last name, but I want to shout out to Stefan. If you see this, thank you so much for your feedback, for your criticisms, for everything that you have said, because it has led to so much kind of introspection, so much thought, and hopefully a lot better product. So genuinely from my heart, thank you. The seed for this episode is going to be, have you ever stopped to ask yourself why we take part in these things? If you haven't, do so. Ask yourself, why are you taking part in traditions, in societal norms, in whatever it may be? Why are you taking part? All the best, and we'll catch you on the next
I'm
one.
off to get a damn Easter egg. See you later.
Only one.